Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Empowering Industry Podcast. I'm your host, Charli Matthews, and I am loving this year. The sun has been coming out finally, and I'm really excited for this season. We have so many, amazing guests on the lineup, and no change this week. And so, Jeff, jump on here and tell everybody kind of who you are and what you do.
Great. Thank you, Charlie. Appreciate your enthusiasm. I hope it's contagious, unlike the colds and flus that seem to be traversing those of us in the Midwest this year. But no, I'm thrilled to be here. I appreciate the opportunity to chit chat with you and your audience today. As you were so kind in your introduction, my name is Jeff Pangborn. I'm currently employed with Worldwide Electric in the capacity as a sales shall we say, confidant and maybe a more mature manager with the team. But moreover, my more significant role with the company is product expertise as it relates to power transmission and gear drives. Worldwide Electric is a 25-year-old plus manufacturer of industrial electric motors, motor controls, and gear reducers. And I started my career in June of 2012 with Worldwide Electric, being hired in for specifically, as I shared with you, those roles. I'm now nearly 40 years into this career, so it's been a long and yet exciting and fulfilling career. I've been challenged a lot, and I've had the great fortune of the opportunity to meet a lot of fascinating people. The job is always interesting because you get to see so many different types of applications and so many different industries. So it kind of brings out the child in me. We all used to love going to show and tell or going on field trips, and it seems like in the capacity of my role, I'm on perpetual field trips. So what's not to like about that? Uh,
Absolutely. And I love the part when you sent me your bio, it says, you live and breathe the power trends and motor control world. And I think that that is so important to kind of think of how you got into this industry too, right? You have a family influence there. So you really have been in this and lived and breathed it. So tell us a
I
little bit about
have.
that.
I had no choice. I was rather conscripted or drafted into the world of power transmission and gearing by virtue of having worked for my father's business as a young person, making extra money. That on top of chores to make some allowance. Of course, I wasn't aware that shackling myself to a machine by my father violated, child labor laws. But I guess that's the joy of working for family. But no, all kidding aside, I was quite the nerd, and I guess not of my own choosing. My father would send me to show and tell at the age of 6 with gears and sprockets, and where my friends would come in with fire trucks and medical equipment to get the attention of their peers. I'm in here saying gears run on gears, sprockets work on sprockets with chains. So it's no wonder I got sand kicked in my face a lot as a kid. But putting all the self-deprecation behind, it was a fabulous upbringing. I was blessed and fortunate to have an opportunity to get early access and really start my education. And as it would have it, it's been something that has served me well. And today I couldn't be more grateful for having had the opportunity and blessing to have grown up in such a favorable opportunity. You
Yeah,
know?
and I think we've heard that a lot as far as when family members do involve their children into the business, then it's just a natural fit. They feel like they belong there. They are given the tools. And like you said, sometimes we do include our children maybe a little too young, maybe a little too much. I've definitely done it as an entrepreneur. I used to send out, photographs of my children as well. So I always tell people, encourage them to, we're using our children here. It's fine. They're cute. It's great. But there is another part of that that is learning the business. And so you've done that. And I know that you've learned the technical side too. You are in sales, but you have that technical expertise of and so tell us a little bit about how you're using that into kind of I guess in the past and today.
That's a good question. There's been a lot of changes When I say in our industry, I'm going to refer to the industrial distribution or application of motion control and power transmission technology. So if we went back several years ago, there was a distinguishable difference from one style or one type of product to another. And what I mean by that is we had power transmission houses which focused on ancillary gear drives, motors, variable speed drives, bearings, and what have you. We had separate distributors that had expertise in pneumatics, just as we did for hydraulics and as we did for safety and lubricant. And while the list goes on, and today there's been this transformation where all of those different types of products and technologies are often represented by one or more large, almost I describe as mill supply or big box stores, where they encapsulate all of those types of products. And so it's become very challenging for their sales teams to be able to bring that kind of expertise to bear when their employees are so enamored with so many different technologies, whereas in years past it was splintered. So it was a little more easy to try to wrap your head and your skill sets around a more limited product offering. And so you're seeing a lot of companies today having to invest in specialists. And I'm certainly an example, as there are thousands of us across the country that serve to support our sales teams. And so, having that early on experience to learn the fundamentals, to learn the math, learn how to do selection, and have that type of experience is something that is challenging, but it's also what drives that passion to get up and where does the time go?
Yeah, well, I think it's great. Well, it makes me laugh. One of the little errors, it said that you've been in the industry 134 years on my notes. And I was like, okay, that's not right, but it is kind of fun to think about. And that is the knowledge and expertise that you've gained over the last 40 years in the industry that has allowed you to be that specialist. And we need y'all to continue to stay, even if it's on a consulting basis, right? Because we absolutely need that knowledge. So I've been talking about this a little bit about how mechanical and electrical, they've got to communicate today. And I just see that even from what you were saying, even more so of that. And a specialist that, yeah, you can't go so deep into product knowledge on one thing. Like you have to have a range of value. And I think there's some tools that'll help us get to that. So yes, how do you do that? Don't tell all your secrets, but yeah.
No, it's a phenomenal question, and I think the easy answer for me is to be part of a terrific team. And I'm obviously biased and no doubt passionate about Worldwide Electric, but over the course of my 40 years, and certainly among my peers and industry experts and those that continue to make their careers in what I think is a very rewarding business, is you communicate and you work alongside of other really knowledgeable professionals and you try to be a sponge, whether it's directly in your own lane of expertise, but the more you work alongside of other experts that are in, shall we say, similar or likened businesses, such as motor controls, working with motors, which are then tied to gearing. I think most of us recognize that the technologies for which we deepen our knowledge and don't work in a vacuum, that the technologies work as part of a greater system. And I think the greater understanding we have into the complexities of systems and understanding the role of those components that we represent and supposedly have great knowledge about, we also have to be humble and recognize that we need to be part of a greater team. And we're very fortunate worldwide in that we have terrific people that come from all different backgrounds and different levels of experience, and they bring that with them every single day. And so it's rare that any one of us has all the answers, but certainly as part of a greater team, you hope to bring that complete package to your customer and to their challenges, and do it in an expeditious, thorough, and complete kind of way.
I love that. And I do want to talk to you even more about teams in a minute, but you are part of that gearing group. And, how do you, and I guess your day to day and the things that you're working on, how is that different than, say, some of the other groups within the organization?
Shall I put this? They're all integral and they're all obviously interconnected and part of the fabric of our company's success. We have three groups at Worldwide Electric. Our beginnings, of course, came from the industrial motor uh, angle, to which we continue to thrive there and adding more products to our portfolio. But it's not surprising. We talked about systems. So motors are driving things like pumps, fans, gear reducers, just to name but a few. And so it was by no stretch that our original owners thought that, hey, if we're going to sell motors, it might make great sense to perhaps provide expertise in a product line on ancillary types of products. And so that gave rise to our deepening and getting involved into the gear reducer segment. And obviously, you have to start and stop and control the motor. So motor controls were a very easy, almost intuitive
Yeah,
segment for us to
no
be
brainer,
involved
no
in.
brainer for
Yeah,
sure.
really, it was a no-brainer. But what's fascinating that I think continues to help our company grow, and I think it rewards all three of those product segments, is that a lot of customers now have had some frustration where often they have to work with several different companies to bring a complete solution. And it's really our goal to try to give single accountability to our customers where they have all levels of expertise in a wide product portfolio, and yet they get the accountability and the ease of dealing with one vendor. And I think that's also been, part of our success is having that integration and the ease for our customers to get information.
Well, I love that. And I do see the technical side in you as well as this kind of sales support, right, that you're talking about. But that's part of a team. You've got all different facets. And if you can see the benefits in other people and what their skill sets and talents are, then that's what makes a great team. So definitely a leader in that. But even more so, ice hockey, that's where you learn how to be a team member? Tell me about this.
Well, that was a long time ago. We talked about being conscripted into the family business. And not surprisingly, my father was a big fan of ice hockey. And as no surprise, it was something that he got myself and my brothers involved in. And, you've got to really look back at it and recognize that playing competitive ice hockey for years and years is the obvious parallel to being successful in almost anything one undertakes. And that's having the drive, learning to be competitive, how to get along with others, how to win and lose gracefully, how to be challenged, how to set goals. And well, I realize it's rather cliche, and we've made these types of analogies, with sports and through the years, but it certainly comes to bear, and it's made a significant difference. But when you bring up ice hockey, I can't help but to think that that was like a lifetime ago. I look in the mirror now, and to steal a line from Jerry Seinfeld, my face looks like an old catcher's mitt. Between the hockey scars and too many maybe days on the road and a lot of hours put in. And I was telling somebody the other day, I think I got more bags under my eyes than the Sith Lord does, for all you Star Wars fans. But I'll call those the rewards of putting one's time in, right?
Yeah, sports does that to you and age. It's so great. We love it. There's a guy, Chris, that I'll have to connect you with, who's also an ice hockey player. And I just love that about teams in general. Just, I played basketball in high school, but I get to watch my son, and I actually just posted a clip of him to LinkedIn. I never do that, but it reminded me that sports and probably this interview too, right? That sports
Yeah,
does play such a significant role in leadership and teaching teams and teaching ourselves how to go to win, right? We don't
for
have to be
sure.
perfect, but we are striving for excellence, and that's what helps our team thrive. Working with each other's skill sets and talents. So, Jeff, I can't let you go without any rapid fire, but is there anything else you wanted to leave our audience with?
Oh my goodness, that is a great question. This reminds me of an interview question I had many years ago when I was getting up and leaving the room, and the then interviewer with the company I was seeking a job with said, "Oh, one more thing." It was like a Columbo move where you had to sit down and he would say, "Well, Jeff, tell me a story." So they wanted to see if we had the means to be able to talk on our feet or otherwise, come to some decision making unexpectedly. But the rapid fire is great. No, I guess I'm going to stay on the theme of a team. I couldn't be more proud of the company that I keep. Every week, 3 weeks, every single month for the last 13 years, I'm on an airplane or traveling away from home. So I'm certainly appreciative of my family, my children, and certainly my spouse for being supportive. But for as much as my colleagues think I'm there to provide some education to them, the reality is I'm probably the biggest. Oh, I guess I steal more information from them than they even realize, whether they're 6 months on the job or 16 years on the job. I get the opportunity to learn equally from them. And I think that's what keeps you humble, to say nothing of what our customers provide us to. And I think that's what drives us is when you love what you do. And if you can find that in whatever career path you seek, it doesn't feel a lot like work.
Yeah, I completely agree. So, with your travels, I'm going to ask you a couple questions.
All right.
Um, what is your favorite book?
My favorite book, I was actually very early on a Tolkien fan. So I read The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. It was a gift I got from my grandmother at the time. And that really kind of started my passion for reading. Although, admittedly, that was a difficult three books to get through, given the level of which they were written at. So it wasn't without some frustration, but I remember that as a fascinating gift.
Absolutely. What about your favorite music?
I am really well rounded on that. I can't, I grew up with, in my teenage glory years as a product of the 80s, but I couldn't help but to be in the car listening to my parents play their 50s, 60s, and 70s music as well. And then somehow I turned on to some jazz music. And then, of course, I punished my own three daughters taking them to school with AC/DC and Motley Crue on while Sister Mary opened the door. Of which their great embarrassment that father would be listening to this music. So it
I
brings back good music,
absolutely,
good
absolutely
memories.
love this. And that is part of daughters and dads, right? So with that, what is the best advice you've ever received?
Oh my goodness, that is a fantastic question, and I don't know that I'll be able to sum one up with necessarily one encapsulating all statement, but I think the theme is you just don't quit. There's no quit, and continue to challenge yourself, and maybe be a better listener than a talker. And even through the course of my career, if I had one Achilles heel that I wish I would continue to be better at, as I think a lot of us, and that would be to listen more than we necessarily speak. And I think that's great advice.
And now, I can't help but ask you this because
Uh,
you let me in on this. But it's at the end. If you don't like it, I'll take it out. But you mentioned you had daughters. Did they care about the business at all? Like, did they get into kind of the industrial side?
That is a great question. Now, some years back, my daughters are grown now; they're in their 20s. My oldest of which is a newborn with her husband, in fact, a high school sweetheart. And my middle daughter works in the music industry, so apparently I affected her. And then my youngest, of course, is doing well. But it's fascinating because while I was growing up and they were very young, uh, forensic files and CSI was all the rage, and everybody, instead of being a veterinarian, wanted to be a forensic expert. CSI Miami and all the CSI Nevada or Las Vegas, and so they would say, "Dad, what is this? That what did you do?" And I say, "Your father is an industrial forensic expert. I get to the bottom of failure analysis," and they go, "No, you're not, Dad. You're a bearing salesman." So I don't know what they really thought of it, but certainly I tried to make the job seem a little more intriguing, and they saw right through my BS.
I love it. I love it. I think you were actually doing that. Once, if they did actually get into industry, then you could have proved it to them because it is very scientific. So in discovery, it's all, you got to use a lot of tools to figure it out, those problem solving tools. So, well, it sounds like you were there for them. They're doing great. And I'm always curious. So, y'all share this episode. It's so inspiring, Jeff, to get to know you. Thank you for just being so open and you made this interview easy for me. I absolutely enjoyed it.
Well, your smile and enthusiasm is infectious, right? So you want to surround yourself with people that are like-minded. So this was not any bit of a stretch. I really enjoyed our time together. Hope to come back and visit with you again sometime.
Yes, we'll do it. Absolutely. And so, everybody, until next time, be empowering.
Thank you. Bye bye.